Hey guys, SpinoDude here. Welcome back to another video. Today guys, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Jurassic World Mattel Dino Rivals Rhamphorhynchus. So let's get this one out of its packaging. Alrighty guys, so here's the new Attack Pack Dino Rivals Rhamphorhynchus out of its packaging. I got this one at my local Walmart last night. It was actually on rollback, interestingly enough, being a brand new 2019 Jurassic World Mattel toy. It was only $5.97. So I got this one, along with the Rex, which will be coming up for review later in the week, hopefully. So before we jump in and take a look at the figure, I wanted to just feature the Dino Rivals packaging itself here. So I'm going to move the Rhamphorhynchus off to the side, as well as the collector's card, which all of the new Dino Rivals figures come with. So here is the Dino Rivals packaging. You can see it's very red in its theme with the yellow T-Rex logo from Jurassic World in the back there. You have the Jurassic World logo on the top there, of course. And on the bottom you have a T-Rex and a Triceratops squaring off with Owen Grady. And it says, Dino Rivals, Rhamphorhynchus, and one collector card there, ages 3+. And then on the back of the packaging here, let me just readjust the camera slightly. There we go. And then on the back of the packaging, you can just see it shows the other, a bunch of legal stuff. It says get the Jurassic Facts app. And then it shows the other figures available in this wave of Attack Pack figures. We of course have the Rhamphorhynchus, which we're looking at today. We have the Rex, the Velociraptor Delta, which doesn't really look like Delta. And then we have the Protoceratops, the new color variant of the Protoceratops. So that's about it for the packaging. All of the Attack Packs packaging are exactly identical, except for the fact that the name of the creature that's inside the packaging is different down here. But let's take that out and let's bring in the Rhamphorhynchus. And actually, before we talk about the figure, here is the collector's card that came with the Rhamphorhynchus. You can see that it has different stats on this card. I don't know if this is implying that you're going to be able to play a game with the Dino Rivals pretty soon. I'm not sure. On the back you can see it says Dino Rivals Jurassic World. That's the same across all the cards. We have some really nice stylized art of the Rhamphorhynchus, which I actually quite like. This one has a blue background on it. And you can see all the stats here. We have strength, speed, intelligence, and attack, I'm guessing. So for strength, the Rhamphorhynchus has 2 points. For speed, the Rhamphorhynchus has 7 points out of 10. For intelligence, 3 points out of 10. And for attack, 4 points out of 10. So this is a really fast one, but he's not so strong, not so smart, and doesn't have great attack, it appears. So I really like how they're including the collector's cards, which is kind of a callback to the original Jurassic Park Kenner toys from 1993. Now, if you guys recall, I actually despised the Rhamphorhynchus when I saw its promo images. If you go back and look at my Mattel 2019 discussion video that I did when the first images were released, I absolutely hated this guy. But I saw him in person in the store, and I am genuinely surprised. And guys, this might be one of, if not like my new favorite Attack Pack figure from Mattel. And I'm gonna zoom in on this guy, but they've changed so much with it. I don't know if they slimmed down the body, they changed the head a little bit maybe. There's just so much more detail on it, and the paint job is so nice in person. And the Dimorphodon was actually my previous favorite Attack Pack figure, and I'm actually going to bring out the Dimorphodon here for a quick little comparison. And you can see the Dimorphodon is overall much larger. It has much larger wings. The wings are very triangular in shape and such. But the Dimorphodon actually has less articulation than the Rhamphorhynchus, surprisingly enough, because this guy has a ton of articulation, but the Rhamphorhynchus has 1 extra point of articulation in the neck. So the Dimorphodon can only move its head up and down, but the Rhamphorhynchus can move its head up and down, and it can twist it at the base there like that. So I think that's a great point of articulation for expressiveness. Also, another thing that's different that I actually like better about the Rhamphorhynchus is the tail is stiff. And I didn't like it at first, but you can put it in some pretty cool poses when it's just sitting on a shelf or a table like this. I quite like that. The Dimorphodon's tail is very flimsy, and if a kid is not careful, that's going to break off right away. So let's bring out the Dimorphodon now that we've done the comparison between the two, and let's focus on the Rhamphorhynchus. Now, let's go over articulation first, which is basically just the gimmick with these small attack pack figurines. For articulation, you saw that the neck can spin, it can move up and down. The jaw, of course, is articulated. It can shut and it can open pretty wide. I really like the way the jaws work. It could shut maybe a little bit more if they made the teeth smaller and pointier, but they don't want to make them too sharp for kids playing with this toy. The tail is not articulated, but the legs have the same sort of hinge as the Dimorphodon has, so they just both kick forward at the same time. I don't like the way the feet are shaped on the posture of the feet on the Rhamphorhynchus. It looks kind of silly. I will take a closer look at that in just a moment. But the wings can flap. They can flap up and down, and then they can also pivot and twist like so. So you can sort of get it in a hovering position or whatever. One of my favorite poses, actually, is just to have them locked at the side, because if you look at this, the flaps of skin actually look like they're attaching to the body. Now, on the Dimorphodon, well, they are for the most part, as you can see here, but there's these big gaps when you move the wings into some positions, and then there's just this sort of this bit that's just really hanging off. It just looks like a chunk of the body was taken off, and there's pycnofibers on it, and there's this huge gap in between the wing and the body, which is kind of an eyesore. But on the Rhamphorhynchus, you can see they filled up the gaps pretty good. There's some small ones there, but they interlock very nice. The wings interlock very nicely with the body and the legs, which I think is great. I think this looks really nice. And one of my favorite postures is to just turn the head, because if you have that new pivot joint, if you just turn the head like that, and yeah, I think that looks great. I like the posture of the tail sort of blowing behind it in the wind as it's flying along. I think that's great. But that's pretty much it as far as like play features go. But one thing to note actually about the wings is, because they match up so closely with the legs, depending on where you're trying to bend them, this little extra bit of the skin that would attach to the body gets caught on the thigh of the Rhamphorhynchus here. So you need to be careful of that. Also, if you're bringing the wings down, you can see that they sort of get caught on top of the animal's thighs there. But overall, this figure has great articulation for a $6-7 little action figure. But let's actually zoom in and take a closer look at the details and everything on this little toy. So here is the head on the Rhamphorhynchus. I actually like it much better in person. I really like the red eye now. I think that stands out. It looks fantastic. Very bird-like almost. That's what I kind of think of when I look at it, because there's some birds that just have these really intimidating red eyes, and I think it works well with the coloration that they chose for the Rhamphorhynchus here. The teeth are very chunky, but they are painted in white. You can see the interior of the mouth has been sculpted and painted, the tongue is painted, and the back of the throat is painted, of course. There is some nice detailing going down the body. There's no pycnofibers on this one, unlike the Dimorphodon. You can see that it's just scales going down. The wings have really nice detail, and I love the paint application on the wings. That's my favorite part of the whole color scheme, are just these blotches of like a tannish white color, just like a creamy white color that's put on the wings. That just adds so much to the figure. They could have easily left this a solid yellowed green color. But other than that too, the choices of the shades of green I think are great. You have this dark foresty green here, and then for the little winglets at the base of the tail and for the wings and the bottom jaw, you have this lime yellowed green, which I think works great. There's a look at the little fan on the end of the tail for the Rhamphorhynchus. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this figure. It has really great articulation, like I said, lots of really good play value. Oh, also, just to have a quick look at these little feet I was talking about earlier. I don't like the way the feet look. They just look really silly the way they're posed. And yeah, I'm just going to leave them kicked back most of the time to make it look like it's in a flying posture, because when they're forward, they look quite silly in my opinion. But I am going to actually set this guy down on the table like so, and I'm going to bring out our trusty flexi ruler to measure him quickly. So in terms of the full wingspan from wingtip to wingtip, we are looking at about 7.5 inches, which is about 19 centimeters. And in terms of the length, we're looking at about 5.5 inches, which is about 14 centimeters. Now, if we bring the wings down and leave the head sticking all the way up like that, that's about as high as this guy can stand. So we're looking at about 4.5 inches, which is about 10 and a half, 11 centimeters. Well, yeah, but anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for today's review of the brand new 2019 Jurassic World Mattel Rhamphorhynchus from their Dino Rivals Attack Pack range. I think this is a great figure if you're a fan of the Jurassic World figures, and even if you didn't like the Rhamphorhynchus at first, I recommend picking this one up and just giving it a chance, or trying to see it in person at the store, because I was genuinely surprised when I saw this one in person. I think it looks fantastic, and it's one of my favorite Mattel figures now. So if you guys want to get this one for yourself, I recommend checking out your local Walmarts right now, because the Dino Rivals are just being stocked with the coming of the new year. So anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Also leave a comment telling me what you think of this brand new Jurassic World Dino Rivals figure. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care, and bye-bye.